Aldrin, you can anticipate that President Hage Geingob of the Namibian President and President Cyril Ramaphosa will be discussing trade relations between the two countries. Remember that South Africa last year alone imported about 16 billion rands of goods from Namibia, and we exported about 57 billion rands of goods to Namibia. So the trade relations between the two countries are skewed in South Africa's favor. But you'd also remember that last year, when the Phala in Section 89 report, Aldrin, was released, it was on the verge of that binational commission between South Africa and Namibia that President Cyril Ramaphosa was meant to embark on to go to Namibia. It was subsequently cancelled due to the revelations after that reveal of Arthur Fraser on what happened in President Cyril Ramaphosa's Phala farm, where those millions of dollars were stolen, and South Africa's links to the Namibian authorities on those investigations that were off the book, and the roles of the likes of Bejane Chauke, the likes of Wale Rueda, who leads the President's Protection Unit, where they met with the Namibian counterparts in no man's land. So this state visit by the Namibian President Hage Geingob will also be clouded by issues surrounding the Phala investigations, how far Namibian authorities are with their own investigations when it comes to that particular matter. And of course, as you said earlier on, issues of the conflict in Eswatini will be discussed. Issues of the issues of Palestine will also be at the top of the agenda, and also the Russia-Ukraine war, which will affect the BRICS nations when they meet later on this year in August, with Namibia also expressing a desire to join the BRICS nations.
Well, so it gives the impression that the Phala issue would be overshadowing most of some of the other elements that you have spoken on. But also the other one is that for Hage Geingob, this is his last tenure as the president of Namibia, with the expectation that Namibia will be going to the elections and a new president will be appointed.
That is one of the central discussions that will also take place, that this is Hage Geingob's effectively last term in office. He will be handing over the reins with Namibia going to elections, and also South Africa going to elections next year in 2024. So both nations are preparing to go to their national elections, and with President Cyril Ramaphosa seeking a second term, and Hage Geingob effectively will be leaving office after his first election in office in 2015. So it tells you that the two nations have a lot to discuss in preparation for the upcoming national elections in both countries, and also looking at the relations between SWAPO and also the governing African National Congress within the country, the historical relations between the two nations, and how Namibia plays a critical part in Africa's, and particularly in the Africa Free Trade Agreement area. You'd remember, Aldrin, when the N3 is blocked in South Africa, a number of African countries, particularly the cannot take their exports out of the Durban harbour, and thus the Namibian harbour and Namibian port has become a major competitor to South Africa's Durban port, with those various accidents that happen on the N3, the looting that takes place of trucks, the burning of trucks that takes place in Moy River on the N3, which affects many African countries' exports to foreign nations, particularly abroad, using the Durban harbour. So these are some of the other issues which affect the Africa Free Trade Agreement area that will be discussed in this binational commission between South Africa and Namibia.